Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about this supposed anonymous game developer. Now, this story is running rampant, and I want you guys to remember something when we talk about anonymous people on interwebs, okay? There is no proof that this person is who he says he is, right? He didn't give a name. He is simply an anonymous person. But what I will say is that some of the stuff he has been saying seems to be factual. And not only that, I mean, he is very clearly someone who shills for DEI-oriented nonsense. So we have an article with a headline that says, anonymous game developer admits I kind of hate gamers and calls Asmongold's viewers bigots. Now, I don't know what it is, the obsession lately with the mainstream gaming industry just focusing on Asmongold specifically. I mean, I know that they tend to do that like before, like they went after him a few times before, but lately it seems like everybody has been going after Asmongold, and I really don't know why that is. I mean, the guy kind of just splits it right down the middle. Sometimes he agrees with some things we say, sometimes he goes the other direction, but he's fairly just straight down the middle. But I guess for the mainstream industry, being straight down the middle automatically makes you an enemy. But that's besides the point. Let's go into it. An alleged game developer posted anonymously to the game dev subreddit, admitting that he hates gamers and that members of the Asmongold subreddit are bigots. Reddit user Likely Sprite, who claims he is working on a racing game, titled his post in the subreddit, am I allowed to say this? I kind of hate gamers. Now, isn't there a racing game coming out that has Sweet Baby Inc. involved? Isn't there one coming out that has Sweet Baby Inc. involved, guys? Just remind me, because I'm pretty sure there is. I'm sure there is a what game was it? Sweet Baby Inc. racing game. Let me see if I can find it really quick on the Googles. There is a racing game. I think is was it Horizon? No, it wasn't that. I don't know. I gotta find it. But anyway, let's continue. So, Need for Speed. Is it Need for Speed? It might be. But anyway, I know that there is a racing game coming out. Oh, Crew Motorfest 2. Okay, so Crew Motorfest 2 is coming out, or it came out, or whatever. I don't know. Apparently, they had consultation with Sweet Baby Inc. It makes me wonder if this person is working on that particular game, but I'm not too sure. Again, this is all hearsay. Yeah, you guys are saying the Crew. Okay, so if it's the Crew, all right, not too surprised. So he works on a racing game. Entitled his post, am I allowed to say this? I kind of hate gamers. Now, he went on to explain, I'm a professional game designer, and I'm worried that I'm starting to hate gamers. Watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. Every time a character that wasn't a cis hetero white male appeared on screen, the chats would fill the messages with calling the game woke or complaining about DEI. Every game that wasn't a shooter or a hyper-casual competitive online game garnered Z's and boring comments. Now, let's talk about this particular first part, okay? The fact that you are using cis-hetero, right? This is what this means, cis-het, right? This little, I don't know what what acronym. Cis-het means cis-hetero. So if you are using a term such as cis-hetero, that automatically tells me who you are, right? Like, I can already see that you got blue hair. If you're a female, you got blue hair or pink hair. You're a psychopath. Or if you're a guy, you're one of those soy boy guys that use cis hetero, which is amazing to me, mind you. Now, it's amazing that somebody who uses a phrase like cis hetero is complaining about people complaining about DEI. So you're complaining about the stuff that you're actively using and proving that gamers have a reason to be upset, right? Like, your entire mindset is dictated by this stuff. Nobody uses these terms unless they're a hardcore leftist psychopath, right? If you're so far left that you have completely lost it, that's the people that use those terms. Otherwise, cis hetero never gets used by anybody, right? But let's continue. And then I checked Twitter, and it's just people complaining that Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is not yellow enough. People telling me there are right ways and wrong ways to beat Elden Ring, and people hating on the new Dragon Age because the trailer doesn't match the tone that they had imagined it for it. He continued. He then added, I've seen people implying that the main character in Fable trailers is ugly because it's a self-insert of some random level designer working at Playground whom they have deemed not fuckable enough. I don't know. It's just the internet magnifying negative voices, I guess, doing what it does best. But it's making me real tired of gamers, likely Sprite concluded. So then why are you in the gaming industry? I don't understand. Like, why you realize that, number one, gamers criticizing things, critiquing things, complaining about things has been a thing since the inception of gaming. I don't understand why you think that it's any different now than it was prior. But you know what? I actually do know why. I do know why, the reason, okay? And I want to make it very clear why. These kind of people, they think that things are getting worse now because they're seeing all of the I don't necessarily want to call it backlash, but they're seeing all of the counterpoints to their arguments front stage, right? So they're seeing it, they're experiencing it, they have to read it, they have to watch it, right? Whereas before, they didn't have to read it. They didn't have to watch it because the main platform that they use, and he just or she just admitted to using, was Twitter. And that platform was heavily censored and heavily policed. We talk about this all the time. The censorship for most of the comments now are gone. The censorship on Twitter is, for the most part, gone. There are some things that are still there in place, automated systems, but for the most part, it's very open. So now they're thinking that all of a sudden everybody just became bigoted, when in fact, people have been fighting against this nonsense for such a long time. You just didn't realize it because the platform that you were using was heavily policed in your favor. Now that it's not policed in your favor, now you have to see it. Now you can't run away from it. So you're blocking people left and right, but you're looking everywhere and realizing, holy shit, there is a lot of people that are not drinking the Kool-Aid. Fuck, what do? I need to go back to my echo chamber. How do I get there quickly? They've been forced, and this is why when they talk about safe spaces are completely and utterly detrimental to people's mental capacity. It is detrimental. Safe spaces do nothing but give people a false sense of reality. That's what it is. It gives them a false sense of reality. Then when that reality shatters, right? When the fake reality shatters, which is what's been happening since Elon Musk bought Twitter, once that thing shatters, they lose it. They don't know what to do. They have no idea. They look around and they think everything's changed when in fact nothing has changed. It's just now that they're seeing the truth of everything. So they cannot stand it. They lose their mind. So I find it hilarious that somebody like this is trying to now say, oh, I don't understand. Why is it like this? Why are gamers like this now? It's always been this way, and it will always be this way. Now, he says here, watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. So turn the chat off. Why didn't you turn the chat off? Like, you don't actually have to watch the chat. You realize, like, there's a button that allows you to hide the chat. You don't actually have to watch the chat. But of course, they purposely do the things that they know are going to trigger them, just so they can go online and complain about what triggered them. Every time a character that wasn't a cis hetero white male appeared on screen, the chats would fill the messages calling the game woke or complaining about DEI. Whose fault is that? Why don't you ask yourself a question? Whose fault is that? Nobody wants to sit there and ask that question. Everybody wants to just complain about the reaction. But why don't you sit there and really ask, whose fault is it that when people see a non-white character, they unfortunately have to, in this world, automatically think DEI is probably involved? Not that it is involved, but that it probably is involved. They have to put their wall up, and it's because of people like you. It's because of people like you that use terms like cis hetero. Nobody uses terms like cis hetero unless they are a psychopath. So now I know that you, as someone who uses that term, who says you're working on a game, I automatically know you are an ideological psychopath.